back to Gav Goes In. Premier League football back. Obviously, Chelsea about to kick off against Everton. Liverpool playing Brighton. I think Fulham playing Burnley. And then you got the late game, which is Arsenal versus Wolves. So, yeah, only 4 games today. But to be fair, I think some of the games that are being played, like kicking off right now, you know, you've got Chelsea and Everton. You know, Chelsea, I believe, are in 5th place. I think Everton might be 7th, you know, and I think Everton are a point behind Chelsea. So, again, if Everton was to win this game at Stamford Bridge, you know, obviously they'll take over from Chelsea and go into 5th place. And, my God, Liverpool just scored. What? No way. Guys, Liverpool 1-0 up already. No way. Oh, disallowed. Is it a goal? That's a goal. Ekatike in the first minute. My God. Just scored. That must be the quickest goal of the season so far. Has to be. Yeah, 1-0 Liverpool. Madness. But, boy, Ekatike proving why he should be the main striker, man. It's crazy. But, so yeah, as I said, man, if obviously Liverpool winning at the moment, and I believe that takes Liverpool into 4th, funny enough. I think it takes them into 4th place right now. Obviously, Chelsea are playing Everton right now, so, you know, it can all change. But I think as it stands, Liverpool are in 4th place. And I think Liverpool started the game in 10th. So it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. But, yeah, only 4 games, which is mad. Not even an early game today either. But, yeah, I definitely think that that there's going to be, you know, a lot of places being changed, you know, over these next couple of days. And obviously, Man United playing on Monday against Bournemouth. You know, big up to my guy Fitz. Big up Fitz each and every time, my guy. Yeah, man, I'm all good. Hope everyone's doing well as well. Yeah, bro, Liverpool 1-0 up, man. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but they're 1-0 up. Ekatike getting the goal. I think it must be the quickest goal that's been scored today, you know. Well, today, I'll say this season. You know, it might actually go down as a record because I'm not sure when the goal was put in, but I know it was less than 1 minute. So, crazy business, man. But, so yeah, as I said, man, I think Manchester United playing on Monday against Bournemouth. You know, I actually think this game's going to be, tough, you know, and that's why the title is 6 players potentially missing from this game. I think in Ruben Amorim's eyes, there's 6 players that would probably be starters in his eyes. You know, De Ligt, as we know, is going to play. And he's been, for me, one of the best defenders this season. I think Harry Maguire, he does like him a lot, and he would always try and put him in the team. Sesko, I think Sesko's 50-50 with this manager. Because, again, when he likes to put in Mason Mount, and obviously you got Cunha, who was the new signing. He wants to try and fit both of them in. And then you've got the likes of the guys that are going to AFCON in Ahmad, Brian Mbeumo, and Mazraoui. And definitely Mbeumo's a starter under this manager. You know, Ahmad does play at wing-back. And Mazraoui has been figuring as of late in the team. So, yeah, as I said, man, I think there's 6 players that Amorim, again, would rather be available because they are more or less 6 starters. And I think De Ligt, Maguire, and Sesko are definitely out. The AFCON players, I want to say the AFCON players, I think there's talk at the moment whether to see that they're going to be included or not. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think the AFCON players are touch and go. But I think if them AFCON players are out, Ruben Amorim's team selection, you know, is going to be interesting because I'm going to try and predict the team he's going to go with, you know, and that's based on all 6 players not being in. You know, I think the defence, from what we've been seeing at the moment in terms of Heaven, well, let me say it now, actually. The back 3 he's going to play is going to be, I believe it's going to be Aiden Heaven in the middle, Lenny Yoro from the right, and Luke Shaw on the left side. So I think if the AFCON players don't play, because I think if the AFCON players do play, Mazraoui will play as a right-sided centre back. Big up to Foxy Danny for coming through as well. I think Mazraoui will play as the right centre back, providing that the AFCON players are there. So yeah, I think, but if I'm basing it on, as I said, them guys not being there, them 6 players, it's going to be Lenny Yoro right side the 3, Aiden Heaven in the middle, and then Luke Shaw left side the 3. The wing backs, this is where it gets interesting, because naturally he's going to have to set up with 5 at the back, and this is what this formation does, because when we're looking at, you know, having wingers, you know, in the wing backs system, you're naturally going to get more attacking players, because you've got either natural wingers or players that are more attacking players playing there. Now, I think the fact that, you know, if the 3 of them, the AFCON players, are out, it now puts Ruben Amorim in a situation where he's naturally going to be set up to be defensive. And as we know, when he has been setting up with both Dalot and Dorgu, the team is naturally defensive, which means that there's 5 players at the back there. Now, I'm looking at the players that are available to Ruben Amorim, yeah, in terms of the AFCON players going. The only player that is inverted, being left-footed from the right-hand side, is Shea Lacey. And as I spoke about this before, Shea Lacey hasn't made a single first-team appearance. So is Ruben Amorim going to throw in Shea Lacey? You'd have to think not. And again, what players is he going to have that can be something a little bit similar to how he uses Ahmad? You know, I think there's a player called Man Utd in the youth. You know, there was calls about him being called up to the first team, but I'm not sure if Man Utd figures a lot. I'm not too sure, but you have to look at the fact that Dalot would naturally go to that side, which means Patrick Dorgu comes in, or unless if he does the inverted that he continues to do, does he play Dorgu on the right hand side, inverted on the left, inverted left-footed player from the right, and then keep Dorgu at left wing back? You know, that could be something that he could be looking at. So you're looking at Dorgu and Dalot as the wing backs. The midfield 2, we know, obviously Casemiro and Bruno is his favoured 2. And then moving forwards, this is where it might get interesting now, because he could either do one or 2 things, yeah? As I said, if he wants to stick with the left-footed player playing from the right-hand side as part of the 3-4-2-1, then naturally the only player that can play there, that will be available, as I said, is Shea Lacey. But he's not going to play Shea Lacey. So that means he's going to have to play a right-footed player on the right-hand side unless he gets someone in the January window. You know, so you're looking at the likes of Mason Mount. Could he go to that side? Could he move Bruno Fernandes up one and then put in a Kobe Manu or a Ugarte in there? You know, Mason Mount will start for me the next game as well. He will definitely start. And then obviously you'd expect Cunha to play there. And this is the thing, like we're going to touch on with Joshua Zirkzee, yeah? Joshua Zirkzee, all of a sudden now, has gone from scoring a goal against Palace, you know, having 2 decent games that he come in for, which wasn't easy. This is a guy that hadn't completed 90 minutes beforehand. And then all of a sudden now, you know, Cunha's back available, and this manager loves Mason Mount. Mason Mount got a goal and had a very good performance against a poor Wolves side. And he has to justify the fact that Cunha was the big signing in the summer. So again, that front, the 2 10s and the striker that he could possibly play, I think Mason Mount's definitely will play against Bournemouth. And then now you're picking between, if the AFCON players are not there, Cunha, Zirkzee, and does he move Bruno Fernandes up one? Yeah. But again, all 3 of them players are right-footed. So his whole system, yeah, the way that he sees it is going to be undone. And this is why I'm laughing, because it's like he is so in love, Ruben Amorim, with this system. It's like he's not going to continue what he's doing because because if he does continue with the left-footed players playing from the right-hand side and the AFCON players are not there, this next game against Bournemouth, we should expect to see Patrick Dorgu and Shea Lacey line up on that right-hand side. This is something I've not seen no one talk about. Yeah, if we're being honest, he should be lining up with Dorgu and Shea Lacey on that right hand side if he's gonna stick to this whole left-footed players inverted. If Mbuemo and Ahmad are not there, and this is why this system, yeah, is an absolute joke, because we all know he's not gonna play Dorgu and Shea Lacey against Bournemouth. And the thing is, I hope the AFCON players are not playing because I want to see what this manager actually does. Because if he does stick to this system, which he's going to, and he plays Dorgu and Shea Lacey, I'd hold my hands up and say, do you know what? I can't stand this this formation, but the manager is trying to keep to his word. But the funny thing is, he's not going to do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, that's the team I can see him doing. I can see him playing, as I said, Dorgu playing as a left wing back, Dallo back onto the right, Yoro, Heaven, Shaw, Lamens in goal, Bruno Casemiro, and then the 2 10s. It's either he plays Xerxes, which means Mason Mount might move to the right hand side, the right 10, and then you've got Cunha as a left 10. Or if he does want to move Bruno up one, then that means Mason Mount will go to the right 10, or Bruno could go there, and then it'll be Xerxes it'll be Cunha through the middle. So again, there is different things that he could do, but what I would say is that, yeah, man, he's gonna be under pressure for this game. Let me just go through some of your comments. Yeah, Dorgu and Dallo wingbacks. I think he will switch from the left footer in the right 10. I can see Cunha filling in for Mbuemo and Mount on the left. But again, and big up to Fitz, where if we look at it as the AFCON players won't be there, as I said, the fact that he's been playing Mbuemo and Ahmad, you know, as the right wing back and the right 10, really and truly, he has to stick to that kind of philosophy, being the left footers on the right hand side, because otherwise it just makes his system fall apart, really. His system cannot be taken seriously. I mean, I don't take it seriously anyway, but the system will be laughed at, because if you've got a system in play and there's certain players you want to play in certain positions, surely you will just pluck someone from the youth team and put them straight into that position. The problem is that he's not going to do that because, as we know, he's in survival mode, which means that he's only going to play players that he feels he can rely on, that can nick him a result. But if we're being honest, Dorgu and Shea Lacey are the only two left-footed players that is part of the squad if Mbuemo and Ahmad go off to AFCON. So he has to put them in, really. But if he changes things, it's like this system really doesn't really make sense, as we know anyway. You know, but yeah, I hear it. I can see him playing Mason Mount, definitely. But yeah, if we base it on the fact that the AFCON players are going, yeah, his whole system doesn't really make sense, I'll be honest, when you actually think about it. Foxy Danny says, prediction 3-1 Liverpool. Well, Liverpool 1-0 up at the moment. Goal from what's his name? From Ekatike, less than a minute. I mean, 3-1. I mean, I've got a bet on, to be fair, and I said both teams to score. So I do think Brighton score, but Danny Welbeck's not playing, so I don't know how they're going to get on. But I think Brighton might get a goal, to be fair. You know. It wouldn't surprise me to see Dorgu at right 10 at some point this manager's a dickhead. Yeah, listen, I agree, man. I agree. Yeah, he's not going to play Dorgu as a right 10. I'm pretty sure of that. But really and truly, if he wants to do some sort of a like-for-like replacement, then you kind of have to play Patrick Dorgu on that side. You kind of have to do it, you know. But yeah, it is what it is, really. You know what I mean? But yeah, this manager is a dickhead, man. We know that anyway. But yeah, I think United are gonna. You know what? I think United are gonna struggle if those 6 players that are rumored to be missing are not playing. They're gonna struggle because, as I said, his team that he might potentially pick is gonna have flaws all over the place. You know, and this is something that I'll be keeping a close eye on. I think in terms of Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth's last 2 games. I think their last 2 games they've drawn. I could be wrong. Let me have a quick check actually. I think Bournemouth's last 2 games, I'm pretty sure they've drawn. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So I have Bournemouth. So Bournemouth's last 2 games, yeah, 0-0 with Chelsea, and then before that, oh no, they lost to Everton. Oh yeah, so they've had a loss and a draw in their last 2 games, and I think in terms of their team, as we know, Anton Semenyo, you know Semenyo what plays normally from the left or the right. I think Semenyo's going to cause problems for that back three if it's going to be Lenny Yoro, Aidan Heaven, and Luke Shaw. I wonder if Evan Nilsson is fit, because I think if Evan Nilsson plays, I think Evan Nilsson again, he's not getting too many goals, but I think the way that Evan Nilsson plays in terms of he's like a constant, I think he's going to cause problems to that Man United backline. You know, I think he does because he's someone that is, you know, he's always on the move. You know, he's got decent link play as well, but he's kind of one of them busy strikers that just likes to just you know, keep pressurizing the defense. You know, and that could set up a good platform for Bournemouth. You know, I think their midfield of Tyler Adams and who will be in there? I think what's his name? Tyler Adams and Alex Scott. I think that'll be a good battle between them, Casemiro and Bruno, who will be in there. But I think Semenyo's pace and power will look to cause problems. They got Marcus Tavernier as well, who's quite creative. David Brooks, I'm not sure if he'll play on the wing. You know, he's creative as well. But yeah, I think they're going to cause problems, Bournemouth. And as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this game. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends a draw. Or if Bournemouth nick it, I'll be honest. I think, as I said, there's nothing to take away from Manchester United's game against Wolves. Because Wolves are playing Arsenal today at 8 p.m. And I expect Arsenal to put 4 past them easy. So, yeah, there ain't much to really take away from that game. But I think in terms of this game for Manchester United, again, if Ahmad, Mbuemo and Mazraoui are able to play, because we know that De Ligt, Maguire and Sesko are all out. But if those other 3 are able to play, you know, I could see United picking up a point, probably, maybe 3, who knows. If those 3 are out, I don't see United winning the game. I don't see it. Because I'm not going to trust what this manager's going to do in terms of team selection. So, yeah, man, I can't see how they kind of navigate their way into this game, really. You know, I think a lot of questions are going to be asked of that defence. You know, Lenny Yoro's been taken out of the team at times. You know, Aidan Heaven, you know, he started against West Ham and then came off at half-time and then played the game against Wolves. And the thing is, I like Aidan Heaven. I think Heaven's good, but he hasn't been getting much game time. And then you look at Luke Shaw's been an ever presence so far this season. But I think with that back three that is that is expected to be playing. Lissandro as well. I think Lissandro's not fit enough, so he might be on the bench again. Chelsea 1-0. Chelsea 1-0. Mad. Who scored? So I think that back three could have a tough time, man, if I'm honest. And as I said, if you look at Semenyo, you look at Evan Nilsson if he plays, you've even got that Eli Krupi Jr. guy as well. Cole Palmer. You've even got him there as well. They've got threats in their team, man. They've got threats in their team, and as I said, man, I think it's gonna be a tough game for Manchester United. It will be, but it's a game that you'd probably Majnan Annie, go suck your mother, man. Don't come on there and talk shit, man. Go suck your mother. Simple. Yeah. So what I would say is bro, listen, I ain't got time for it, man. If you're gonna come on there and talk shit, like, I don't care if you come on there or not. You're not forced to be here. Yeah, with a Ribena straw. Exactly. You're not forced to be on there. If you don't want to be on there, then you can bounce, man. I couldn't give a shit, man, because this is a proper footballing channel with real footballing talk. So if it's not for you, then you're not forced to be here. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. So yeah, as I said, man. Yeah, if they get those front players, if they get those front players firing, it's going to be a tough time for United. It is, and yeah, as I said, man, I think with those 3 African players missing for AFCON, then yeah, I think United best they can hope for is a draw. I would say, I think definitely best they can hope for is a draw. But again, man, I think the way obviously Liverpool and Chelsea are both winning, so that's pushed United into 7th now, I believe. With Liverpool, because Liverpool now on 26 points with the games carrying on, so they've gone ahead. They've gone ahead of United, and obviously Chelsea were in 5th anyway. So yeah, man, that's put them further up the table. But Man United will need to go into this game and pick up 3 points, because United's game after this is against Aston Villa. And again, Aston Villa are the most informed team in the league right now. They're the most informed team at the moment. I think they've definitely won their last 5 games, but it could even extend to that. It could be 6. I'm not too sure. But they're 3 points behind Arsenal. Obviously, they're playing West Ham tomorrow away. City are playing Crystal Palace away. And obviously, Arsenal are playing today at 8 p.m. against a poor Wolves side. So, yeah, man. Man United are going to have a tough game next week against Aston Villa. So, again, if they want to try and get some points on the board, you'd think this game against Bournemouth is a game they should be targeting. But again, I think United's last 2 results at home, a loss to 10-man Everton and a draw against West Ham. So, yeah, it hasn't been great. And again, this is going to provide another tough game for them. I think we're going to get shown up on Monday, to be honest. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. You know what? I'm afraid of that as well, because, as I said, I think a lot of it will be based on if those 6 players that we've mentioned, which we know definitely 3 of them are out. A lot of it is going to be based on that, because I want to see what he does. I want to see what he does with that, with the 2 10s and the striker, because we know that Cunha and, as I say, Mason Mount are more likely to play. But does he play both of them and then play Xerxes through the middle, or does he play Cunha as a 9 and then push Bruno Fernandes forward? So yeah, that's something that I'm gonna be interested to see what he does. But yeah, I think Monday's gonna be a tough game for United, man. No doubt. 'Cause, 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 Yeah, no doubt it's going to be a tough game. I mean, Kobe Minu, another one. Yeah, he could be. I mean, Kobe's not. Well, I mean, I'd love to see Kobe play, but I don't think he's going to start Kobe. I think Kobe for me. Um, Kobe for me should be playing in this system as one of the tens, but we know he's not going to do that. But I think in terms of Kobe's game time under this manager, I don't think much is going to change. I can see him coming off the bench and probably getting, yeah, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how the game's going. You know, I don't think he's going to start Kobe Manu, definitely not. But this is Ruben Amorim for you, though. You know what I mean? This is Ruben Amorim, and this is why Kobe's pushing for, you know, an exit in the January window, man. And you can't blame him. So yeah, it's one of them things, man. Any predictions for tomorrow's game? What are the games tomorrow? Let me check. Let's have a check tomorrow's games. So, okay, so yeah, interesting games. So you got Palace and Man City. Again, Palace have played obviously in midweek. You know, obviously them playing on Thursday and then playing Sunday is something that they're not really used to. You know, I think a lot of it's going to depend on the Arsenal Wolves game, I would say. I mean, Arsenal for me are going to batter Wolves, so City are gonna know what needs to happen, or what they need to do to keep in touching distance with Arsenal. So I can see it being a tough game against Palace away, because again, Palace are a very good team under a very good manager in Oliver Glasner. But I think the way City have been playing as of late, you know, they've got form to a lot of key players. The likes of Foden is playing well. Cherky, we know all about Cherky. Haaland's always going to get you a goal. Jeremy Doku, to be fair, I'm not a massive fan of Doku, but Doku has been playing very well this season. And again, they're getting their players back and they've got gears to go into. So I think based on Arsenal beating Wolves, I think Man City cannot afford to slip up. So I think City will win that game. And as I said, Aston Villa playing Thursday, Sunday is something they're not really used to. So I'd say that, yeah, I think City will definitely win tomorrow, but it's not going to be easy. You know, I think the first goal will be key. And I think if City do get the first goal, you know, I think the fact that Palace have played on Thursday, you know, it might take its toll. But it's not going to be easy, but I think they're adding incentive. Because, I mean, could you imagine, yeah, if Arsenal was to draw to Wolves? City will now know that with a win, they're now level on points. So this is what I'm saying, man. These games now, Arsenal really cannot afford to drop points. They have to be going to every game, you know, looking to pick up maximum points. Because, as I said, City are only, 2 points away from them. And as I said, if Arsenal drop points, City will know what needs to happen. So, yeah, I think City will win that game, but it won't be easy against Palace. Sunderland, Newcastle. So, time where derby. Obviously, they haven't played each other for a little while. Sunderland, I think, are on 23 points. And I think Newcastle might be on 20, I believe. Let me check. Or 22. So Newcastle are a point behind Sunderland. So again, if Newcastle win that game away from home, then they go above Sunderland. In actual fact, they could go as high as 7th before Man United play. So again, if Newcastle beat Sunderland, they will go joint 7th with Manchester United. And obviously Man United will be playing Bournemouth obviously on the Monday. The same with Sunderland. If Sunderland beat Newcastle, they go above Man United. Man United are 7th right now because Liverpool are winning. But if Everton and Brighton somehow turn it around, United could drop further down the table. So again, this is mad. It's actually mad. You know what I mean? It's actually mad to think that how close this table is. Let's check the other game. So yeah, I'm gonna say, I mean, because it's a derby, you would naturally think a draw. You know what I mean? You would naturally think a draw. And again, Sunderland at home are good. So yeah, I think based on that, I'm gonna say a draw. I'm gonna say a draw to be safe. You know, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham. I mean, Tottenham have obviously Champions League during the week, away from home against Forest. I think if Tottenham are serious about, you know, whether it's Champions League places or just European football in general, for me, they would need to go there and beat Forest. But again, Forest under Sean Dyche, you know, he could set his team up, you know, to be hard to break down. And again, if we're looking at Tottenham's team with no Maddison and no Kulusevski, you know, breaking them down with them two not in the team, you're more or less relying on Xavi Simons really as a sort of number 10, or Kudus with his pace and power. So again, and we know, as we know with Sean Dyche teams, he does set them up very well. Again, that's another game that I could see a draw. You know, I reckon a draw wouldn't be, you know, too far off. But I'm gonna say Tottenham because Tottenham need to win the game. You know, but again, another game which won't be easy. And you know, all these games so far, the Palace, Man City, Sunderland, Newcastle, now Tottenham and Forest, it wouldn't surprise me if all 3 of them games ended a draw. Because all these teams are quite tough teams, especially at home. I think if City were at home to Palace, I would say, I think City will win it anyway, but I would say definitely City. If Newcastle were at home, I would edge for Newcastle. And the same with Tottenham and Forest, I would edge towards Tottenham. But the fact all 3 of them teams are away from home, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I'm going to say Tottenham will win that game. West Ham and Villa. I mean, Villa are the informed team. You know, West Ham are up and down. But again, West Ham's last 2 games, they picked up 2 points from Man United and from, was it Leeds, I think it might have been. I think it's going to be a tough game for Villa, but I think Villa win this game, and I think they win it comfortably. You know, I'm going to say Villa win this game 3-1, I'm going to say. I think Villa, you know, Yuri Tillemans, you know, and again, Yuri Tillemans has kind of been like the forgotten man. But against Villa, against Arsenal, he was the best player on the pitch. You know, Ollie Watkins isn't scoring too many goals, and he should have had a couple more against Arsenal. Morgan Rogers, massive fan of Morgan Rogers. You know, you got players like John McGinn as well. And John McGinn, you know, John McGinn's not a great footballer, but he brings so much, like, when in terms of leadership and like a never say die attitude to that Aston Villa team. And then you got the midfield 2 of Amadou Onana and Boubacar Kamara, you know. And to be honest with you, as a partnership, you know, they're probably 2 of the best pairings in the league when you think about it, you know. Massive fan of Ezri Konsa. I think Konsa, for me, has to start with Guehi in the World Cup as it stands. And then you got, obviously, Emiliano Martinez in goal. But again, they've got a well-rounded team at Aston Villa, and they've got a top manager, you know, in Unai Emery. Someone that, you know, imagine if he was given the money that Arteta was given. You know, he would have won a league for Arsenal already, I believe. So, but yeah, I think Villa win that 3-1. I'm going to say 3-1. Brentford and Leeds. I think this is a massive game for Brentford, you know. I think Brentford have lost their last 2 games. You know, they've got the 2nd top goal scorer in the league in Igor Thiago. And again, Leeds away from home haven't been great. I think at home, you know, Leeds are a problem. At home, they're quite tough to beat. But I think because Brentford are at home, I'm going to say a Brentford win. I think Igor Thiago probably gets a couple of goals as well. I think Sharda suspended. I don't know if he's back or is he suspended. If Sharda's suspended, that could be a miss. That'd be a big miss for Brentford. But I think the fact that Brentford are at home, I can see Brentford winning the game. 100%. I can see them winning the game. Imagine the banter if Arsenal draw with Wolves at home. But yeah, that's what I said earlier, Fitz. I think if Arsenal don't beat Wolves, which I'm not going to say that's not going to happen because I definitely think they beat Wolves because Wolves are that bad. Imagine the meltdown from the fan base, and again, that will open the door for Man City. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think definitely, man. If they don't beat Wolves, then boy, I don't know what to say. This all of a sudden this title talk with them is going to be laughable. So yeah, man, I can definitely see Arsenal beating Wolves, man. I can see them beating them comfortably. But if somehow it was a draw, listen, it will have to be probably one of the last of the season so far because Wolves are that bad. And you think Arsenal will have everything in their path to win this game. They rested key players, you would say, in midweek in the Champions League. They're at home. They're playing against a team. Their best attacking player last week against Man United, he's now out injured with a hamstring injury. They've got 2 points so far this season. You'd have to say that there's nothing stopping Arsenal from winning this game and winning it comfortably. So I'll be very surprised, man, if they don't win this game. But yeah, the meltdown would be crazy, man, if that happens. Reckon Sunderland continue the dream Prem return with a derby win. Yeah, I mean, they're at home, man, and they're very good at home. But I think because it's a derby, Newcastle are usually always up for these kind of games, So I think a draw might be a fair result, but Newcastle being a point behind, Sunderland obviously in 8th, I think now. They could go up the table with a win. So yeah, yeah, man, I definitely think, man, there's gonna be something in it for both them teams. So we'll have to wait, man, and see. But I'm gonna say a draw, yeah. Yeah, I haven't got the Liverpool game. Are Liverpool looking good? Yeah, they're looking good. Obviously Mo Salah's back on the bench as well. Yeah, he's back on the bench. What? So you? Oh, what? So what? Fitch? You think Villa would definitely beat West Ham? You think definitely they beat West Ham? Yeah. What team do you support? Man United. All right, listen. If Wolves get a point, man, I'm gonna laugh my head off. The funny thing is, yeah, I don't even want to watch that game because it's gonna be a shit game. But do you know what I hope for? Yeah, I hope Wolves make it a good game. I hope it's not a case where they just turn up and just wait to get beaten, and then they end up just getting battered. That's why I don't really want to watch the game because I want to see a fight being put up, but I can't see it, man. To be honest with you. Yeah, West Ham are shaky, man, but this Premier League's been crazy, man. So yeah, but I do think West Ham win tomorrow. I mean, Aston Villa do win tomorrow. I think they do win the game, and I say they've been in good form, man. So I'll be very surprised, man, if there's not 3 points there. But you never know, man, because West Ham, I say last two games they haven't been beaten, and Nuno might set them up in a way to make it hard for Aston Villa to break them down. But yeah, I think Villa will win that game, man. I have no doubt they'll win that game, man. I think as I say, 3-1 will be the scoreline. But again, a lot of these games, the first goal is key, because there's some teams that are good, once they go behind and coming back, and there's some teams that, as I said, cannot hold on to a lead. So, are you Amorim in or out? You know what? I've answered this a couple of times. Yeah, I think the whole Amorim in or out is childish, really. The only thing what I would say to people that are torn between being Amorim in or Amorim out is ask yourself this question. Yeah, what is Manchester United's aspirations this season? That's the question. That's the first question. What are the aspirations this season? Because for me, Manchester United should be they're a top 6 minimum team. Minimum. I expect Man United to be nothing less than top 6. Do I believe Man United get top 6 this season under this manager? I don't. So again, I hate doing the Amorim in or out because I find it childish. But the facts are, he's not going to get Man United in the top 6 this season. I don't think if he somehow survives the whole season, he doesn't keep Man United in the top half. Yeah. Not to mention, yeah, as a Manchester United manager, I believe he's had 13 wins or is it 13 or 14 wins in 12 months, which is unacceptable. Not to mention last season we finished 15th. The formation, his in-game substitutions. Like there's so many things wrong, that negative results, that negative stats that he's broken. Ask yourself the question, does he deserve to be here any longer? So again, it's not about being Amorim out or Amorim in, yeah? The facts are, is he the right manager for Manchester United in terms of where they want to go? There's no kind of vision with the youngsters coming through. So yeah. So that's the thing you have to ask yourself. You know what I mean? And that's why, this whole Amorim in or Amorim out, there's no point answering that. Just ask yourself, is he the right man? The question is no. You know what I mean? So could always call Villa versus West Ham unpredictable as well, though. Like you say, this season has been crazy. Yeah, I think Villa win the game, man. But it wouldn't surprise me if West Ham somehow scumbag a draw or something like that. But I think the form that Villa have been showing, again, they rested players during midweek as well. So yeah, I think they'll be all right, man. I think they should win the game. And again, they've got something to play. They've got something to look forward to. They're only 3 points behind Arsenal. And again, if Arsenal was to draw the game against Wolves and Villa beat West Ham, it's 1 point behind. So that's what I'm trying to say to you, man. There is nothing in it. Nothing in it this season. And then all of a sudden, you start looking at Aston Villa as title contenders, even though I don't think they win the title. But you can't really rule them out, man, if that was to happen. But again, a lot of it depends on tonight's game with Arsenal and Wolves. I would love Arsenal to draw with Wolves, man. It'd be funny, man. Put it that way. Do you believe that England is going to fail? In terms of what? In terms of football? Or in terms of what? Anything lower than top 6 is a failure of a season. It is. And Man United have the squad to be a top 6 minimum team. The problem is the manager. The manager is not going to get Man United top 6. He's not. Like, I'm comfortable in saying that. As I said, I'm comfortable in saying if he lasts the whole season, Man United, for me, don't finish in the top half. Because already, yeah, before a ball's been kicked, we've dropped down to 7th already. And, you know, Man United don't play till Monday. There's other teams playing tomorrow, which means we could drop down even further. So, 2-0 Chelsea. So, again, yeah, there's problems ahead, man. So what do you mean by no vision with youngsters? Yoro, Ahmad, Heaven, and Lamens are youngsters. So what I mean is that if you look at Lenny Yoro, yeah, Lenny Yoro at points has been dropped from the team. Yeah, Ahmad Diallo, Ahmad's 23, and again, I'm a massive fan of Ahmad, but let's not be fooled. Ahmad is only playing because Ahmad's an athlete. You know, he's not playing Ahmad because Ahmad is a highly technical player. He plays Ahmad because Ahmad's got an engine. Aiden Heaven has only come into the team because of injury. And Lamens obviously is a goalkeeper. So again, Ruben Amorim doesn't want to play the youngsters because the reason I tell you that, Ruben Amorim's best team in his eyes is Lamens in goal, Delict, Maguire, Shaw, Dallo and Ahmad, Bruno Casemiro, Cunha, Mounts, and Mbeumo. That is his best team in his eyes. And the youngest player out of all them is Ahmad Diallo at 23. Or if you're counting outfield players. Yeah? So again, there's no vision with this manager because he's in survival mode. Now, as I said earlier, you know, if we're looking at the fact that them players are going off to AFCON, yeah? And he wants to continue with left footers playing on the right inverted. If them AFCON players are not playing, he has to play Dorgu and Shea Lacey because Shea Lacey and Dorgu are the only left-footed players that are part of the squad. And we know he's not going to do that. So again, this whole system that Amorim has going on, you know, it's a shit system really. Because if he played if he plays Dorgu and Shea Lacey against Bournemouth, if Ahmad and Mbeumo are not there, I would respect it a lot more. Because at least he could turn around and say he has a philosophy with how he sees certain players in certain positions, even though I don't agree with it. But you can at least say fair enough. But we all know he's not going to play Dorgu as a right wing back and play Shea Lacey as a right 10. He's not going to do that. So again, the whole system's laughable. You know, it's laughable. Yeah, listen, I don't blame any Arsenal fans that want Amorim in because Amorim's not a threat. That's the truth. That's the truth. So ain't 23 ain't youngsters only because he's not playing Minu. He's against youngsters. Again, that's not that. Like that's your opinion, but it's not about Amorim being against him not playing Kobe Minu as to why he's against youngsters. Have a look at when he played at Sporting Lisbon. Again, if there's anyone that's a Sporting Lisbon fan in the chat or you watch Sporting, the only young player I think he played was Giovanni Quenda and I think Usman Diamande. So again, if you're looking at Diamande as like a Lenny Yoro and Giovanni Quenda as a Ahmad Diallo, there's only two players. This Man United team, his best team, he plays one youngster, if you want to call it that still, and that's Ahmad at 23. No one can deny that. So it's not about him not playing Minu wise against youngsters. This guy's in survival mode, and he's only going to play players that he believes can nick him a result. That's the truth. Because if he was building for the future, like Louis van Gaal was doing, we should see Shea Lacey playing if the AFCON players are not playing on Monday. But he's not going to do that. So, yeah, man. So I know managers has his favourite. He just wants to win and secure his job and don't want to lose matches with playing our youngsters. But again, you've more or less just said what the problem is then. Because this manager thinks about himself. He doesn't care about the youth. He doesn't care about Manchester United. He just cares about himself and how long he can keep fooling the public. That's all he's doing. Because this is why I keep saying, what is the vision with this manager? There's no vision. He doesn't play the younger players, really. You know, he's married to this formation. So again, what is the vision under this manager? Because the answer is there ain't one. And this is part of the problem. So you've kind of like just said what we all know. He's doing it for himself because every game he scumbags a victory or a draw, it keeps him slightly a bit longer in post. That's the difference. And this is why he's not playing the youngsters, because he cannot afford to. Because playing the youngsters comes with inexperience and you're not sure what you're going to get. But if he had Man United's long-term vision in place, he will play them. It's as simple as that. But he's not going to do that. Arsenal are not going to draw. It's 36 points today. Yeah, listen, I believe Arsenal win today as well. You know what I mean? But if they was to somehow not win this game, boy, I can't wait to see the meltdown, I'll be honest. But yeah, Wolves are poor, man. I just hope if Wolves do get beat, they make a game of it. That's what I hope. But yeah, I think Arsenal pick up the points, man. There's going to be no doubt about that. Trust him. I say climbing from 15th to 10th, then 10th to 6th, then 6th, then upwards is much more reasonable. But again, that's lowering of the standards because Man United should never be finishing 15th anyway. That's the first thing, yeah? And then Man United, for me, 15th to 10th is no reward, is not, I don't look at that as an achievement. Man United going from 15th to 10th. Like we are not, no disrespect, we are not Bournemouth. We are not a mid-table team. So if we're saying Man United climbing from 15th to 10th is acceptable, and then from 10th to 6th, I disagree with that. Because this league is a poor league. It's so open. Again, if you look at from Crystal Palace in 4th, yeah, I think it might have changed now because Chelsea are winning. But before today's game started, Crystal Palace in 4th, all the way down to 14th, which is Brentford, there's 7 points in it. 7 points. So again, this is a wide open league where everyone's beating everyone. So this is why you look at Man United's squad, it's a top 6 squad, and there's no way that I'm going to start saying Man United going from 15th to 10th is acceptable and then 10th to 6th. Because if Man United didn't have Ruben Amorim in charge, there's no way anyone would be saying Man United getting 10th or getting 6th is acceptable. It's not. It's just a lowering of the standards because this man just shit. That's all it is. You know, so for me, Manchester United, for me, as a minimum, should be 6. 6 is the lowest that they should be finishing with the squad they have. But due to this manager, we're not finishing 6 because he's nowhere near good enough. That's the facts, you know. The thing is, Mainu wants 200k a week. Again, that's a lie. And this is part of the problem, yeah? People make up stuff to suit an agenda. If you don't rate Kobe Mainu, then just say you don't rate him. But to come on there and start making up stuff because you don't like him is poor, really. You know, and what I would say is that, you know, agendas are real, man, because there's no way that Kobe wants 200k a week. Now, based on what the likes of Mason Mount is earning and other players are earning, you know, if Kobe was to ask for, let's say, 150, even though he shouldn't be getting 150, but you would kind of see, you would kind of understand why he would kind of want that kind of money, you know. But unless you're part of Kobe's entourage or you know Kobe personally, or he's come out and said that. You know, these things are just being said because you either don't like him and you just want to just try and create stuff up to have an agenda, which is poor. You know what I mean? So Kobe doesn't want 200 grand a week. That's a lie. Why would he want 200 grand a week when this will be his first big contract? And as I said, you know, Amad Diallo's on 90 grand a week. For me, Kobe shouldn't be getting paid more than Amad Diallo. You know, but no one knows what Kobe's asked for. But I can tell you this for free. There's no way Kobe Mino has asked for 200 grand a week. I know that. Because he would never do that. You know what I mean? So that's a lie. So Amorim promoted and used so many youngsters with Sporting Lisbon. Yeah, Nuno Mendes, but obviously Mendes went off to PSG very quickly. Quenda, who's Pedro Porro? Because Pedro Porro wasn't at Sporting Lisbon when Amorim was there. So it's not Pedro Porro. Hjomland. Hjomland is... How old is Hjomland? Because the thing is, yeah, when I'm laughing, yeah, because when people do this, it's like I'm part of this is not true, yeah, because Matthias Nunes, I believe, wasn't at Sporting Lisbon when Amorim took charge. I believe Amorim was at Sporting Lisbon for 2 years, yeah, and Matthias Nunes right now is, let's check it. Matthias Nunes is 27, guys. He's 27. So he's not a youngster. Yeah? So that's not true. And again, yeah, we can just rule it out because he's not a youngster. Quenda, yes. Nuno Mendes, yeah. But again, I don't think Amorim... Let me check now. How long was Amorim at Lisbon for? Let me check. So, let's have a quick check. Oh, okay, he was there for 4.5 years. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we could say Quenda and Nuno Mendes because Pedro Porro, again, is not a youngster. And how old is Pedro Porro? So Pedro Porro's 26. So when and again, he was at, how long has he been at Tottenham for, Porro? I think 2 seasons, yeah? So again, I believe Pedro Porro would have been about 23 when he was at Lisbon. So again, I'm counting youngsters as in 19, as in 20 years or younger. Yeah? Quenda's definitely one. Nuno Mendes is as well. And I think Hjomland might be... So Hjomland is 26. So again, the only ones we're looking at are Giovanni Quenda and Nuno Mendes, who were under 20 years of age when Amorim possibly was there. But again, those two players are generational talents. Nuno Mendes, for me, is the best left-back in the world right now. And Quenda, you know, you could arguably say is a generational talent as well. So those two were 2 players that were definitely going to be... Put it this way, those 2 were players that would have been in the first team regardless of who was in charge. So again, just going back off that from what you said, Haji, yeah? He hasn't promoted any young players, really. Because Pedro Porro's 26, and when Amorim was there, he would have been above 20. Hjomland's 26, the same thing. and Matthias Nunes is 27. So we're only looking at Nuno Mendes and Quenda. And again, both players, for me, well, both players, as I think everyone would agree, would have been in the first team regardless of what manager was there, because they're generational talents. So again, Amorim doesn't promote youth. It's a lie. Yeah, there you go. Who cares what he did at Sporting? What is he doing at United? Again, and you could level that at so many different things because it's a weaker league. You know, he had a bully boy striker that is struggling in this league right now in Victor Gyökeres. So yeah, it means nothing. It means nothing, man. At the end of the day. Yeah, so Amorim managed Sporting Lisbon at 2020, yeah? In 2020. So again, he managed Sporting at 2020, yeah? And as I mentioned already, the only youngsters there was Mendes and Quenda. So we can't use that, unfortunately, man. We can't use that. Anyway, we just want Amorim to quit his delusion and succeed at Man United. He's not going to succeed. Like, if you think he's going to succeed, then again, that's your opinion. But there's too much evidence to know he's not going to succeed. You know what I mean? I'm so confident that he won't because he's very stubborn. You know, and as I said, you know, it's only a matter of time for me, you know. The way that I count youngsters is if you're 20 years or younger. And you know why I do that? Is because if anyone remembers the game Football Manager, yeah? Football Manager, they had a tag of Wonder Kid. And the Wonder Kid age was anything from 20 years and downwards. Yeah? As soon as you hit 21, you're no longer a Wonder Kid. So again, to put Hjomland and to put Pedro Porro and Matthias Nunes in there with Nuno Mendes and Quenda, that's what I'm trying to say to you. That would tell you that he doesn't bring through youngsters. It's as simple as that. Right, let's move on. Yeah. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like. There's 10 of you in there. Make sure you smash the like. Make sure you sub to the channel. And make sure you share the channel. Who would you want to see managing Man United after Amorim? This question gets boring, I ain't gonna lie. And nothing against you, Haji, man, but this question just gets boring because I've answered it so many times, yeah? Arnav922 says, do you like fried chicken? Nah, but I think your mum does, though, to be fair. Guys, I'm saying you now, anyone come on there talking shit, I ain't got time for it. You know, you're not forced to be here. If you're going to come on and contribute to the channel, then by all means. But if you're going to come on and just talk shit, then my Fitz, obviously one of my mods, will block you. Yeah, I ain't got time for it, guys. Like, this channel is about pure footballing or pure or pure sports discussion. If you want to come on there and just talk shit and you ain't got nothing better to do, then you're not forced to be here. It's as simple as that. I couldn't give a toss if you're on it. That's the truth. You know, this channel is only for people that want to have real conversations about sport. Again, you're not here to agree with me, but if you can understand the conversation, you know, and have your opinion, that's what it's about. But coming on there and just talking rubbish for the sake of it, I ain't got time for it. Go and find another channel that goes and does that. You know what I mean? It's that simple. Who would you want to see managing Man United after Amorim? For me, it has to be a manager that wants to ditch this formation, a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. You know, and again, I'm not asking for too much, man. Just go and get me a manager that wants to play with the best players on the whole time, and play a formation that gets the best out of your best players. It's that simple, you know. There's so many reasons why this formation is not the correct formation, because it means that the majority of your best players are not playing, or they're playing out of position, i.e. Amad Diallo, you know, i.e. Mbuemo, as he's playing as a right 10. Cunha has to play as a 9. Kobe don't get game time, you know, and Xerxes doesn't play play enough because of the way the manager sees the game. So, but yeah, I mean, the obvious names, you got Glasner, you got Iraola. Zidane's always been a favourite of mine. I like Roberto De Zerbi as well. I just want to see a manager just come in and give freedom to the best players, to the most talented players, which is Amad and Xerxes, you know, a Kobe Minu as well, Cunha. I want to see a manager come in and give freedom to them players, because one thing that these players are not getting at this club is freedom. Yeah, look, listen, yeah, Nagelsmann would be a good shout, but Nagelsmann's not leaving. He's not going to leave Germany for me. I can't see that happening. But yeah, listen, there's loads of managers. As I said before, Ruben Amorim's the worst manager in the league, along with, I mean, I'm going to say Rob Edwards, but I think it's even unfair to say Rob Edwards because he hasn't got a good team. But for me, Ruben Amorim is the worst manager in the league. Tell me a manager that he's better than. Because if I go down to the bottom 3 right now in the league of, again, we've mentioned Rob Edwards, and I think who's down there? West Ham. Is he better than Nuno? I don't think he's better than Nuno. Let me just check the table. So yeah, if we look at the table, yeah. And again, I done this the other day, and there's no point going into the other teams. But look at the bottom 3, yeah? I think Scott Parker's a very good manager. And again, these managers are dealing with the worst squads in the league. Because let's face it, these squads are championship squads. But I think Scott Parker is better than Amorim. Nuno, I think, is better than him. Then you got Sean Dyche is better than him. Daniel Farke is better than Amorim. Marco Silva is better than Amorim. Keith Andrews, who's a new manager. Look at what he's doing with Brentford. He's arguably better than him. Eddie Howe, Iraola, Thomas Frank are all better than Amorim. Regis Lebris, obviously bringing his Sunderland team up. Again, Regis Lebris and Keith Andrews, Daniel Farke. You know, people might be and ahhing, but I think they're better. Fabian Herzler's better than him. David Moyes is better than him. Arne Slot's better than him. Glasner's better than him. Enzo Maresca's better than him. Unai Emery and Pep, there's no point even talking about them and Ruben Amorim. And I think Arteta's better than him. So again, Ruben Amorim's the worst manager in the league with Rob Edwards. And again, it's unfair to say Rob Edwards because Rob Edwards is managing the worst squad in the league. So I don't think people deep how bad this manager is. You know, he's that bad, you know, so. He ain't better than Maresca. Nah, he's not. He's not. He's not better than Maresca. He's not. Listen, Scott Parker's a very good manager. I think people that think Scott Parker's not a good manager is because he's managing Burnley. Go and tell Ruben Amorim to go and manage Burnley and see what he does with him. You know what I mean? Don't look at Scott Parker because he's managing Burnley as he's not a good manager or a good coach, because he is. You know what I mean? I think what's happened is that because Amorim's at Man United, people automatically thinking he's that level when he's not. He's that bad. I'm telling you. He has been given a fallen United squad, a low-quality squad. Then next season, he has been given a good keeper and a bit of signings plus youngsters. The mentality is poor. Everything is falling apart. Again, I disagree. He hasn't been given a fallen United low-quality squad. In terms of the technical quality of the squad, yeah, again, the technical quality isn't great because the only technicians I'm looking at that are top level are the likes of Ahmad, the likes of a Joshua Xerxes, a Kobe Mainu. You know, Luke Shaw's very good technically as well. So again, in terms of the technical floor, you know, it can be a lot better. But in terms of players that have done stuff in this league, I disagree. You know, and to put this to bed as well with Ruben Amorim, yeah, he's coming to the team with a certain philosophy of how he wants to play, yeah. If you've got a low technical level team, the best way you can help that team is to just play them in a system which is more comfortable for them. If you've got a low quality team and you start putting them into a system where they're not used to, what do you expect? That's the truth. What do you expect? Like, these things are not really rocket science. All it is a manager coming in thinking that he knows better. That is all it is. Yeah? But the reality is, this Man United squad is not as bad as what people make it out to be. Because if we run through Man United's team, yeah, and we see what players get into a first 11 of the top 6 team, that will give you your answer. Because I look at Lenny Yoro, Matthias de Ligt. They're 2 players that will start for the top 6 teams. No problem. You know? If I go to players that I rate, yeah? So Lenny Yoro, de Ligt start for a top 6 team. Nusir Mazraoui would start for a top 6 team. Amad Diallo would, Brian Mbeumo would, Cunha would, Kobe Mainu would. Yeah? And then you probably, at a push, say Bruno would as well, yeah? Joshua Xerxes would as well. Yeah? Casemiro would. So, Man United have players that would go and start for a top 6 team. Easily. But this manager wants to be awkward and start playing players out of position and just make things complicated because of the way he sees football. Now, as I've mentioned, this will be telling against Bournemouth if those 3 African players are not playing. Because really and truly, if he wants to stick to the left footers playing on the right-hand side, he has to go and play Shea Lacey and Dorgu out there because they're the only left footers available now. And he's not gonna play Shea Lacey, and he's not gonna play Dorgu out there, and he's not gonna bring in Mantato to start either. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. The mentality of this squad can be questioned, yeah? But when people are saying that he's been given a fallen United with low-quality squad, that isn't true. That isn't true. Yes, the technical floor can be a lot better, but no one can come and tell me that these players are not good enough to be finishing in the top 6 comfortably. And the answer is, they're not going to finish in the top 6 with this manager. They're not. Gav, opinion on Salah getting subbed on the Liverpool versus Brighton game only 26 minutes in. What, he's come on already, Salah? Someone must be injured. Is someone got injured? Is someone got injured? I mean, my opinion on Salah coming on, yeah, if someone's, you know what, it's difficult, yeah? If someone's injured and he's come on, then I would understand it. The problem that I would say this might create, yeah, for the rest of the squad, and again, you know, it could work in the favor, it could not. If you're if you're someone that's on the bench now with Salah, an attacking player, let's say obviously Rio's on the bench, but obviously he's a youngster. I can't remember who else on the bench. I think Isak's on the bench. I don't know I think Chiesa might be back on the bench. If you're a Chiesa or a Isak on the bench, and you've seen, and let's not forget, yeah, Salah is third time all-time top goal scorer at Liverpool. You know, he's scored a lot of goals for them. He's won trophies with them as well. And he's come out in the interview saying the team that the club have thrown him under the bus. You know, he hasn't got a relationship with the manager. If you're a player on the bench and you've seen an outburst like that from Mo Salah, and then all of a sudden someone's got injured and he's been brought on ahead of you, these are the kind of things, yeah, that create a problem in the dressing room. Because now it's like a player can come out and start doing all that, whether he's experienced or not. And all of a sudden, he apologizes and then gets himself back into the squad, and he comes on ahead of you that has been a model professional and is not getting game time. So those are the things that it can create. The other side of it is that Liverpool, he's the highest paid player at Liverpool. So Liverpool have figured, they've put together an outlay on Mo Salah, and they might be under pressure to play him because of the money. So it could work in two of them things, yeah. For me personally, Mo Salah's been poor. He has been poor all season. The thing that Mo Salah would look back on is the fact that, you know, he has scored goals for Liverpool, even though he has been poor, and he has won trophies, and he's one of the experienced players in the dressing room. So that's what his comeback would be to that, yeah. But I'll be honest with you, if you're a player that's on the bench right now, and he's just waltzed back into the squad, and now he's come on ahead of you, it now means really and truly, the manager, his kind of authority, I would say, should be called into question. Because Mo Salah really has come out and, in a sense, he's kind of disgraced the club by doing that. Because he's thought about himself. And now he's been brought on ahead of a Chiesa, a Rio, who's a youngster anyway, and Isak, who haven't had any problems with the manager. But now you've seen Mo Salah just come on ahead of you. So again, this could create problems in the dressing room because of that. You never know. I asked you why wasn't he as criticised in Sporting as in United? Because it's a different level. Sporting Lisbon is in Portugal, which isn't the pressure's different. What he does at Sporting Lisbon, he can't do at Man United. It's as simple as that. It's a weaker league as well. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Long distance shooters are a thing of the past in this game now. The game's dropped off massively, man. It has. It's dropped massively. Like, I'd argue that with anyone. Isn't the same. So Amorim is definitely better than all except Pep. He hasn't got his players. It's only phase 1.5. So I think you're trolling here, Haji. But again, tell me why you think Amorim is better than all those managers I've said. What's your reasoning behind it? And Haji, what I'm gonna say to you as well, yeah. Again, 2-0 Liverpool, Ekatika, yeah. And again, I've mentioned this before, yeah. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but I'm gonna break it down to you because I'm someone, yeah, that I don't really care about XG. I think XG and all these other bollocks that's come about in football, yeah, is part of the problem. But what I'm gonna tell you about this, yeah, is that when Amorim was at Sporting Lisbon, yeah, Sporting Lisbon, they overachieved their XG by, I think, about 20-something goals. Something like that. I can't remember the exact number. but it was along 20-something goals, yeah? Now, what that tells you, yeah, is that the system he has in play, yeah, because there's no team that should be overachieving their XG by that amount. There's no way. It's unheard of, yeah? So all that tells you really is that his system doesn't work in the first place. And what happened is that he had a striker in that league, in Victor Gyökeres, who, let's face it, was a flat track bully. Yeah, because we've all seen Gyökeres this season, how he's struggling. So he had a flat track bully in that league that had pace and power. And the team and Gyökeres himself over-exceeded the XG. But what that will tell you, yeah, if you actually understand it, that his system isn't designed to get goals. It's not. Which is why Man United have been struggling to score goals in general. If you've got a striker in Sesko and Xerxes, and between them they don't get chances, and one of them has one goal, I think between them they've got 2 goals, yeah, maybe 3. That will just tell you that the system doesn't work. So I guarantee you this now, a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, yeah, those players won't have 2 or 3 goals between them strikers. So again, you're playing a weaker league in Portugal, for 1. 2, you got a flat track bully striker, yeah, and 3, tell me a team that has over-exceeded their XG by that amount. Because he's not going to over-exceed an XG in this Premier League. And by the way, this Premier League ain't even great, yeah? But he's not going to over-exceed his XG. So a lot of it has to do with the league. A lot of it has to do with having a freak striker in that league. But then that freak striker is struggling in this league. There's your answer. Hey, Verbich, you can do one, man. I don't give a toss what you say, man. Listen, I'm on it to give my opinion. I couldn't give a damn what you say. Like, it's not a huge explanation. The problem is a lot of people like yourself just come on there and talk shit without actually knowing what you're talking about. That's the problem. This is the problem with YouTube from what I've seen. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have an opinion, but then again, me coming on camera, yeah, and saying what I say, I don't just have an opinion. I don't just say things for the sake of it. I talk because I know what I'm saying. I can sit and talk to anyone about football and explain my points. Some people just come on there and talk shit, and then when you question them on it, they either don't get it or they run away. That's the problem with YouTube. Like, YouTube is a platform that's open to so many people, you know, but there's not a lot of people that actually know football. That's the problem, you know. And as I said, you're coming on there saying he goes through a huge explanation. It's not even a huge explanation. I'm just letting you know that some people just come on there and just say stuff for the sake of it. And it's like, you can tell they ain't got a clue what they're talking about because they're getting it from other people. As I said, whenever I say stuff, I know what I'm talking about and I can explain it. Some people just say stuff and then, you know, you press them on it and then they just run away, unfortunately. So that's the problem. But again, if this channel's not for you, you're not forced to be here, man. That's the truth. Because we have proper conversations on here. Arna's not better than Amorim. So where's the evidence to say that Amorim's better than Arne Slot then? So I'm trying to say to you, like, it's just talk for talk's sake. Where's the evidence to say that Amorim is better than Arne Slot? Based off of what? What's your opinion on Real Madrid versus Man City match, mate? Do you think Madrid can improve their game? Do you know what? I'm surprised that Xabi Alonso hasn't been sacked yet. That's what I'm surprised about. But yeah, I think City will always... I think the first 10 minutes, Real Madrid looked, you know, they looked like they were going to do something. And the reason for that, I said, was them having no Mbappe, you know, I looked here as it could actually work in Madrid's favour because since Mbappe's come to the club, Vinicius Junior has gone into his shell. Um, Rodrigo hasn't been getting game time, and it's one of them things where them two players could have stepped up. But I think the fact that Xabi Alonso for me will get sacked very soon. I believe. Obviously, they've been through. They haven't been. I think their last. I could be wrong, but I think I think they haven't won a game in their last three or something like that. It could be, which is, it's seen as a crisis at Real Madrid. But yeah, listen, the game itself. Yeah, I think City deserved it, man. City have been on decent form. Madrid haven't. But yeah, no, I think it's one of them things really that I said before the game, City will win 2-1. And obviously there's been rumours that Xabi Alonso could lose his job after that game. I think he's still there. But another poor display from Drew Bainham. Again, the amount of height that guy gets is ridiculous for an average player. Rodrigo was decent, but that's not the Rodrigo that I remember. The guy's even changed his boots. He's now wearing Adidas. Looks like he's putting a bit of weight as well. But yeah, I think, I could never, I couldn't see Real Madrid winning that game. I couldn't see them winning that game because, I said before the game City would win, but I don't really know what's gonna happen with them. Whether they're gonna change the manager or not remains to be seen. But yeah, I thought the game was quite an entertaining game. But yeah, I think City showed why, man. You can't really sleep on them, And again, you look at City, they're doing that with no Rodri. You know what I mean? Former Ballon d'Or player or winner. When he comes back into that team, he could take them up another level. So, well, not could. I think he will. So that's the thing. Uh, who's this prick, man? Alexander Lupo. What a dickhead. Who's that guy, man? Let's ignore this guy. Clown. Salah got an assist and Palmer got subbed off. But what does that mean, though? Like, what does that actually mean, though? What's the basis of that? Do you know Daniel United, that Man U YouTuber? No, I don't, man. Who's that? I ain't got a clue who that is. Daniel, the United YouTuber. Don't know who that is. Who you looking at like that? Your mug. There you go. You get deleted, you clown. What a fool, man. Honestly, there's some idiots in this world, don't there? You know what I mean? Some guy coming on my channel, you know what I mean, trying to flex himself in his picture, just talking rubbish. Like, there's some complete clowns in life, man. I'm telling you. Oh well, you know what I mean. Burnley can play Fulham. Dubravka, Twanzebe, Ekdal, Esteve, Hartman, Florentino, Ugo Chukwu, Cullen, Brun Larson, Broya, Foster. Well, Palmer got a goal, but was subbed off in the 58th minute. Yeah, we know that. But what's the what are we trying to like? What's the point of that? I'm not understanding. Right, guys, we're going to wrap it up in about 5 minutes. Yeah, he got a brace, Ekatike. Yeah, again, he's embarrassing Isak, really, when you think about it, because Isak's struggling. Ekatike is just showing that he should be #1 striker, man, and you can't really blame it. What's your all-time attack/forward? What are we basing it on? The 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3? Jan Koller, my God. Beckham, Bergkamp with Pires. That's mad. That's mad. Brighton have looked shit today. I haven't seen any of the games, man, to be honest. Yeah, Iliman NDI is a very good player. Again, that's someone you would say is a top 6 player. That's definitely someone you would say is a top 6 player. No doubt. Yeah, but Brighton are one of them teams. They're very up and down. And guys, look at that, yeah? You've got, by all accounts, yeah, people were saying that Liverpool have been struggling this season. And on the other hand, you know, there's been people saying that United are, United doing well. And look at that, Liverpool now ahead of United. Just shows you a minute. This season's just up and down. Gav, opinion on the Portuguese league. Gil Vicente are at 4th and are currently winning their latest match. That's crazy. That's crazy. So who's top? What is it? The usual suspects: Benfica, Sporting Lisbon, and Porto. Do you know what? I like Kadioglu. He's a very good player. You know, he's someone that United should have signed when he was leaving Fenerbahce. Arsenal are going to bottle the league again. Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. I believe so. But guys, anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Obviously, I've got to shoot out. But as always, big up yourselves for coming on. Big up to everyone contributing to the channel. As I said, guys, you're not forced to be here, man. If the channel's not for you, and you don't like the chat that we have, then as I said, there's plenty of other channels out there. But this is a proper footballing channel, as I said. And it's about having great dialogue, man. And whether you agree or don't agree, it's what it's about. So, yeah, appreciate you guys coming on and contributing. You know what I mean? So that's the main thing. And as always, make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel. And make sure you smash the like button as well. Big up to all the mods. Big up to Fitz. Big up to my guy each and every time. Guys, should be back tomorrow. Not sure yet, but if I am back, obviously, as always, make sure you guys have your notifications on to see when I go live. And then obviously back for our usual stream on Monday with myself, Fitz, and Jonas. Obviously, I'm guessing Jonas will be in good spirits. Obviously, Liverpool winning their last 2 games against Inter and now Brighton. So yeah, we'll be live at 5:30 as always for that. And then Tuesday we're gonna do a first ever wrestling stream as well. A first ever wrestling stream with Fitz as well. We're gonna get into the wrestling talk. You know, we're gonna talk about who are the greats. You know, I think there'll be a lot of differences of opinions on that one. And then on Wednesday, I'm gonna discuss my recent boxing fight and do a reaction to that. So yeah, make sure you guys come through. There's content coming your way on, as I said, if not tomorrow, but definitely Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So yeah, make sure you guys come through, support the channel as always, and yeah, share it, man. So yeah, main thing. But guys, yeah, make sure you smash the like button on your way out. And yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys, if not tomorrow, but definitely Monday. Take it easy.